Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Mission, Cali 24, the heart of the historic Mission District in San Francisco. And we're, of course, here at the 24th Street of our BART station. Thank you, Rodney Lee, for inviting us here to use this plaza. Rod's part of our BART leadership, and I want to just thank him for working together with our city. Today we got some great news, and we always want to share that with you, but let me say this. First of all, we're in the heart of the Mission, and it's bustling, and it's probably noisy, so everything you see, there's a lot of people back and forth. They're getting on BART, they're getting off of BART, they're on buses, they're on public transportation, and you see a lot of this right here in the Mission. In fact, all throughout the Mission and extending on to downtown Soma, it's all very active. And one of the equalizers that I've always said, and certainly when my conversations with Ed Riskin, our director of MTA, and all the other transportation experts that are here today to join us, is that transportation in San Francisco is the big equalizer. That on the same bus or the same car, you'll be riding probably with a CEO of a company or some Nobel laureate going down to Mission Bay, or a restaurant worker or a hotel worker. They're all generally on the same buses, and they're going to different destinations, but they're using this great public transportation system that we have. And in San Francisco, we understand that, and that's why we are investing a lot in our transportation infrastructure. Every time Secretary turns around, we probably got another proposal in front of him, do something good, and well, he understands that as a former mayor of a great city of Charlotte, North Carolina. He understands what mayors have to do. We have to work on our infrastructure all the time. And that's why we have great partners. Our regional director, Les, is here from Department of Transportation. As I said, Bart is here. Ed Riskin, with a couple of the commissioners, Tom Nolan, the president of the commission, Cheryl Brigman is here. Our county transportation authority is also here. The director is here. Telly Chang is here as well. And today we have a great announcement because not what is unexpected. This former mayor has been working with many cities around our country on a program called Ladders of Opportunity. And it really is a way for us to focus on those infrastructures that give opportunity for people to get to their jobs, get to their families having transportation, to get to school, get to any place they need. Infrastructure that is absolutely necessary for cities across this country to succeed. And whether it's BART, whether it's Muni, whether it's our Muni light rail, we've been doing that. We've been all investing in the right things. And as you recall earlier, a few weeks ago, I stood in front of all of you to sign a historic purchase of light rail vehicles that would be here beginning next year, a $1.2 billion procurement that will be all made in California, and that will be made in America. That's the right way to do things these days, for sure. And that we'll have these new light rail cars on our streets before you know it. You'll be able to ride and see that. We're also utilizing the past investments that the Department of Transportation, our federal partners, have made throughout many years. I know Secretary Foxx knows this as well. He's, I'm sure, reviewed the work that's going on in our Transbay Transit Center, the work that's gone on with our not only our light rail vehicles, but all of the infrastructure we're building out, the Central Subway, information there. All of the different projects that the federal government has been co-investing in us, we have made tremendous progress, and we're very proud of our partnership with our federal government. And so today, it's yet again another great announcement. These programs have different flavors throughout all of our major cities, but they have that theme. That theme is people got to get to work. They got to have good transportation vehicles to do it in. And so today, I'm joining and thanking Secretary Foxx for his wonderful leadership. He's going to have many more announcements, I'm sure, but this is one where I'm glad to welcome him in yet again, to make a joint announcement that we are now, with the federal help, be able to procure some $9 million of new buses that will be the 60-foot long buses. We have, I think, about 12 of them that we'll be able to procure with this money that will allow more people to be in modern buses and just get a lot more people on these buses to utilize them. We have an incredible amount of ridership. In fact, a ridership, as I think we explained earlier last week, is at an all-time high. It's over 750,000 people a year. And this ridership, a day, pretty good, it's a day. This ridership is probably more than all the other transit systems combined on a daily basis. That's how much people are investing. And therefore, it is appropriate for us to be investing in Proposition A, which is a $500 million bond, to really make sure that we invest in our pedestrian safety and in the timing of all of our Muni buses and in all of the street designs that we have before the voters under Proposition A. This is the kind of investment that I think when the Secretary sees we're doing it locally, they want to complement what we're already doing and make sure it's a success. So in this context, where transportation is the key to success for everybody here in the city, and when we have a secretary who is the former mayor of a great city who knows what I go through every single day, knows what our transportation experts go through every day, the challenges, the mixed use on our streets, the need to accommodate all modes of transportation, I am warmly welcoming former mayor, now Secretary of our U.S. Transportation Department, Anthony Foxx.
First of all, I have to thank your mayor, Ed Lee, one of the great leaders among mayors across the country, for sending us one of the most incredible applications for our Ladders of Opportunity grant, and for all the partners here, Ed Riskin, Tom Nolan with the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency, and those folks who are behind me, and especially those folks who are going about their business, getting to work, getting home, going to the school play, whatever they're doing, trying to get someplace. That's why we're all here. You know, I grew up in a community where on Saturdays I'd have to get up in the morning with my grandmother and take the city bus into downtown to go shopping. And it was her only way of getting someplace. She didn't have a driver's license. She didn't have a car. And I learned early through those experiences how much people need public transportation. It's a sad fact of life that in too many corners of America, the connections that people need to the 21st century economy are limited. Here, you have a city that is growing by what I read was an expected 30% by 2030. And so you're going to have more demands on this system, more people waiting for the bus, more situations where the bus has to pass by because it's so full that folks can't get on. And that's a real shame, because the reality is that if somebody is depending on public transit to get to a job and they miss the bus because it's too crowded, that may be an opportunity lost for that individual. So we at USDOT have done something that we think is pretty important. We put together $100 million plus and competed it around the country for transit systems to tell us what is it that you need that will help restore these connections to folks who are trying to get into the middle class or folks who are struggling to stay in it, so that we can create the kind of fluid connection to the 21st century economy so many people need. And San Francisco delivered. Now you have to understand, you've been at this for a while. The Muni system is known as the nation's first publicly owned big city transit system. And I know for a fact that a few years ago you celebrated a 100th anniversary of the day Muni opened. Thinking back to that time when Muni had a fleet of just 10 streetcars, just one line from Geary and Market Streets out to the Golden Gate Park. And the mayor at that time said about the future. He said, "I want everyone to feel it is but the beginning of a mighty system of streetcar lines which will someday encompass the entire city." Well, today we just put another little cornerstone in the foundation to help that happen. As the mayor said, a $9 million grant to the city of San Francisco, to your transit system, to place about 12 extended buses into your system. So what does this mean? Well, it means that instead of folks having to deal with waiting for another bus to come by, you've got additional capacity so people can get on it. What does it mean? Somebody who might have otherwise been late for work or late to a job interview now has an opportunity to get there on time. What does it mean? It means that for all these folks out here who are doing their level best to get up in the morning, get to work, do a good day's work, come home and support their families, that they have the kind of confidence that the system that's here in San Francisco is going to be even better for them in the future. And that's what it's all about. Now, I have to tell you another thing, too. I wish we could be doing more of this stuff around the country. I wish we could do more than $9 million here. I wish we could help every community that needs to get these vital connections restored. But the reality is that we don't have the resources out of Washington that are needed to help this country move forward in as robust a way as we can. And that's why the President and I submitted a bill called the Grow America Act to Congress back in the spring. It wouldn't just keep the funding at level rates over the next several years. Our bill would actually increase investment in transportation. 22% increase for highways, a 70% increase for transit, and bringing passenger rail system into the family of dedicated revenue streams so that we can build a 21st century passenger rail system in America. Now, that's a big vision, but folks, we're a big country, and this is a big city, and it's getting bigger by the day. The growth is going to come whether we figure out the future or not in Washington. We just want to urge you to take this one dimension of what is possible in this country, what we're doing today, and remember that we've got to build on it and to make your voices heard, not only here, but all across the country into Washington, D.C., because we need a long-term surface transportation bill to do more of the good work that we like to do at USDOT. So, Mayor, it's great to be with you. It's great to be with all of your colleagues here. I'm looking forward to joining you and MC Hammer sometime, one of these days. But at the end of the day, the work you're doing right here on the ground is supporting the American economy and the future of so many American people, and I want to thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you.
MC Hammer, me, and Secretary Foxx on Muni. Okay, watch for that. Watch for that. Secretary, please send our city's thanks to President Obama for this. He's been a great leader, and I know ever since we talked as mayors, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Mayor Foxx at that time and I, we were all dealing with infrastructure, and we were telling the federal government what they should do. Now he's in there. I just love the fact that former mayors occupy secretarial positions because they get stuff done. Our San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency has great leadership as well, and I've been there when those commissions had to listen to a lot of different feelings about whether Muni was working for them or not, and I want to just say again thank you to all the commissioners on that very important commission, because they hear it all the time. They are making great strides and efforts to improve it, and they have gotten us in the city not to be separate, but to be included with their vision of what the future can be. And leading that effort has been Tom Nolan, and I want to just thank Tom for his wonderful leadership. Come on up, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I always say when I talk about the system, I'm proud to be part of it. We move 700 and some thousand people every single day in a very difficult city to get around. And Cheryl Brinkman, our vice chair, is very proud of it to be part of it as well. So welcome, Mr. Secretary of San Francisco. We look forward to many visits back here in the future. As a Bay Area transportation hub right here, the additional capacity represented by these 12 60-foot buses supports public transportation options for the entire region. Muni's Mission Street, right under this, is the BART system. So this is a great place to have this event today and put more buses on the 14. I live on the 38 Geary line myself, so I'm really especially happy about that one, getting out there. With a combined ridership between BART and MTA, 1.1 million passengers every single day ride the system. This investment is totally worthwhile. In this corridor, so many people rely on it to get to other parts of the Bay Area as well as within the city of San Francisco. These buses will help improve service for those who need to get to and from work. Their rides will be more comfortable and in conjunction with other improvements that Muni is making. This grant is a win for transit riders, but in fact it's a win for the entire city, for all those who are concerned about the health of the city of San Francisco. The more efficient our transportation system is, the more efficient our bike rides, our walk and taxi rides, and our car rides can be. It all works together. And the more we improve our most heavily utilized corridors, the more we can say we are improving commutes, quality of life, and the economic vitality of our growing city. So thank you very much. I'm interested. Are you? Okay. So you can applaud right now for me. Okay. And then we'll get to the other guy here in a minute. Okay. See, if nobody's starting it themselves, I have to do that myself. But my great pleasure on behalf of our board to introduce Ed Riskin, the Director of Transportation. And I always think a transportation gathering should have a little literary quote in it. So I'm going to quote from Edward Albee. In Zoo Story, Edward Albee said that one character said to another, sometimes you have to go a long way out of your way to come a short way back. I find that personally true almost every day in all kinds of ways. 3 years ago, when we were seeking a new leader for our agency, we considered a national search, and we had interest expressed from all around the country. As we deliberated on this major responsibility, we looked within the city family itself for a possible leader. Ed Riskin quickly came to the top of that list of potential candidates. He was right here already doing work at the DPW. We had, as Albee said, gone a long way out of our way and come a short way back. Mr. Secretary, Mr. Mayor, I can say on behalf of our entire board that our members have not one regret about hiring Ed Riskin. In fact, we grow prouder and prouder of what he's doing to lead the city in very difficult, very challenging situations, but we are moving forward, and we wouldn't be doing this without the leadership of Ed Riskin, our Director of Transportation, and my friend. Director Riskin.
Thank you, Chair Nolan, Mayor Lee, Secretary Foxx. My name's Ed Riskin. I'm the Director of Transportation here. I also am currently serving as the President of the National Association of City Transportation Officials. And it's really from both of those perspectives that I want to especially thank the Secretary, as well as the Department of Transportation and the Obama administration for really understanding the importance of cities to our nation's economy and the importance of transportation and specifically transit to our cities. As the mayor said, Muni is really a system that serves people of all income levels. And we also, and this is based on a survey of 22,000 of our riders we completed earlier this year, know that we serve disproportionately a number of very low income folks who really rely on Muni to allow them to realize those opportunities that the Secretary was talking about, to get to work, to get to school, to get to a hospital, to get to church. And it's for those folks, and it's really everybody who rides Muni, that are really impacted by the size and the quality of our fleet, and in particular our bus fleet. It's real impact to them. They have to wake up earlier in the morning to get to where they're going. They maybe get home later in the evening. Their ride is crowded and stressful, and that's really what this grant is going to help us address. Complementing the investment that we expect from the voters under Prop A that's going to help us redesign our rights of way to help it work better for transit. This grant will allow us to purchase 12 new vehicles, new, additional, modern, state-of-the-art, large vehicles that will improve the quantity and quality of transit service that we can deliver to all San Franciscans and make sure that everybody can realize those opportunities. And as the Secretary said, it's not just today's riders, but we have a lot more people coming to San Francisco. And if we want San Francisco to remain the great place that it is today, we want to be able to accommodate as many of them as choose to be able to ride transit. So this is an investment for today. It's an investment for the future. We're extremely grateful for the U.S. Department of Transportation's awarding us this grant. We will steward these funds well, get great vehicles on the streets as soon as possible. I do want to recognize our great capital finance staff who put together this great application under the leadership of Monique Webster. They're helping build the confidence in the federal government and our state and local partners that we really can improve transportation here in San Francisco. So thanks again to everybody who's here behind me, particularly the Secretary, for taking the time out of his schedule to come here to our great city. We're looking forward to getting these buses on the street, and we want to thank you all for coming, and we'll see you on these buses as they hit the streets of San Francisco soon. Thank you all very much for coming.